The world is transfixed by a new flashpoint in the South China Sea, a massive Chinese tugboat edging ever closer to the BRP Sierra Madre. This is not just another maritime encounter, it's a high-stakes confrontation playing out in real time, with the eyes of the world glued to every move and maneuver. This rusted, decaying ship is the Philippines' boldest symbol of sovereignty, grounded on Thomas Shoal since 1999. Once a working Navy vessel, the Sierra Madre was intentionally run aground to serve as a permanent outpost, a defiant marker of the Philippines' claim in these contested waters. Over the years, its battered hull has withstood storms, salt, and the relentless pressure of geopolitics. Filipino Marines aboard the Sierra Madre live in constant alert, their resupply missions now perilous gauntlets. Every delivery of food, water, and fuel is a dangerous operation, shadowed by Chinese vessels and the threat of confrontation. For these Marines, daily life is a test of endurance and resolve as they stand watch on the front lines of a brewing international crisis. Today, the arrival of a heavy-duty tugboat signals a chilling escalation, a possible shift from harassment to direct action. The tugboat's imposing presence is a message in itself, hinting at the potential for a forced removal or blockade. Its engines rumble with the weight of intention, casting a long shadow over the fragile status quo. The Marines brace themselves, knowing they are the last line of defense for their nation's claim. Every moment is tense, every sound on the hull a possible sign of trouble. They are isolated, but their resolve is unwavering, fueled by duty and the knowledge that the world is watching. Across Manila and Washington, alarms ring, diplomats scramble, and military leaders review contingency plans. Emergency meetings stretch late into the night, as officials weigh every possible outcome. The fate of the Sierra Madre, and perhaps the region, hangs in the balance as alliances are tested and strategies debated. The standoff at Thomas Shoal is a powder keg. A single misstep could ignite a wider conflict. The tension is palpable, with both sides locked in a dangerous game of brinkmanship. Each maneuver, each radio call, could be the spark that sets off a chain reaction across the region. The Chinese tugboat is more than a ship. It's a lit match in a room full of gasoline. Its approach is a calculated risk, a show of strength that could either force a retreat or provoke a confrontation. The symbolism is unmistakable: power, pressure, and the threat of escalation. The world watches, wondering if the Philippines can hold the line, or if the Sierra Madre will become the epicenter of a global crisis. Newsrooms buzz with updates, analysts debate possible scenarios, and ordinary people everywhere hold their breath, aware that the outcome here could ripple far beyond these waters. The stakes have never been higher. Every decision, every hesitation, is magnified by the possibility of conflict between major powers. The future of the South China Sea, and the rules that govern it, may be decided in the coming days. On this quiet shoal, the world's most dangerous drama is unfolding. The calm surface of the sea belies the storm of uncertainty and tension swirling beneath, as nations hold their breath and hope for restraint. The next move could change the course of history. In these contested waters, every action is a gamble, and the world waits to see who will make the first decisive move, and what the consequences will be. The BRP Sierra Madre's story began with a secret mission in 1999, but its origins stretch back decades earlier. Once, this vessel sailed as the USS Harnett County, a proud American warship that served in World War II and the Vietnam War, carrying stories of conflict and survival across distant seas. After China seized Mischief Reef, the Philippines faced a daunting challenge. They needed a permanent marker at Thomas Shoal, a remote outpost in the fiercely contested Spratly Islands, to assert their claim and presence in the South China Sea. Their answer was bold and unconventional: run aground a W-12-era landing ship, the USS Harnett County, renamed BRP Sierra Madre. This aging vessel, once a symbol of American might, was about to become the Philippines' unlikely fortress. Under cover of darkness, the ship was deliberately grounded on the shallow reef. The operation was risky, but it transformed the Sierra Madre into a rusting fortress and a defiant claim, standing firm against encroachment. The moment the hull scraped coral, the crew erupted in cheers. They had planted their flag in the heart of contested waters. For them, it was more than a mission. It was a declaration of hope and courage. The Sierra Madre became more than a ship. It was a symbol of national pride and resistance. Its battered decks and rusted walls echoed with the determination of those who served aboard her. Its decaying frame stands as a testament to the Philippines' refusal to be bullied. Despite the harsh environment and constant threats, the ship endures, embodying the nation's unyielding spirit. For the Marines stationed there, it's not just a post, it's a legacy. Each day they defend not only a ship, but the sovereignty and dignity of their country, far from home and comfort. Every day the flag flies is a defeat for China's expansionist ambitions. The presence of the Sierra Madre is a daily reminder that the Philippines will not yield its territory without a fight. The ship's presence is a constant, inconvenient truth for Beijing. Despite diplomatic pressure and intimidation, the Sierra Madre remains, stubbornly holding its ground. The Marines are not just soldiers, they are guardians of sovereignty, living symbols of resistance and hope for an entire nation. Against time, weather, and pressure, the Sierra Madre endures. Storms batter her hull, salt eats away at her steel, but she stands, unyielding, unbroken. Its rusted hull is an unbreakable bastion of Filipino spirit, a monument to courage, sacrifice, and the enduring will to defend what is rightfully theirs. Around Second Thomas Shoal, China wages a relentless gray zone campaign, warfare without bullets, but with constant intimidation. Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia ships shadow, block, and harass Filipino vessels, aiming to isolate the Sierra Madre. Water cannons, military-grade lasers, and dangerous maneuvers turn every resupply into a perilous confrontation. In one alarming incident, Chinese personnel boarded a Philippine vessel, seizing equipment and injuring sailors. These tactics are designed to fall just short of open war, testing how far China can push without triggering a military response. By using Coast Guard and militia, Beijing maintains deniability, framing aggression as law enforcement. For Filipino Marines, the distinction is meaningless. It's a grinding siege. The goal holding the Sierra Madre too costly for Manila. Each day the pressure mounts, inching closer to open conflict. The gray zone is darkening. The world wonders, how much longer can the Philippines endure? While China flexes its might, the Philippines stands on solid legal ground. In 2016, the Permanent Court of Arbitration ruled against China's sweeping claims, affirming Second Thomas Shoal as part of the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. China dismissed the ruling, but it remains legally binding and a powerful diplomatic shield for Manila. The Sierra Madre, though grounded and decaying, is a commissioned naval vessel, protected by sovereign immunity. Any attempt to board or tow it would be an attack on Philippine territory, not a simple law enforcement action. This legal clarity isolates China, exposing any forceful move as naked aggression. The world would see such an act for what it is, a blatant land grab in defiance of international law. China's image as a responsible power would be shattered. For the Philippines, the law is both shield and sword. The world's rules are on Manila's side. The standoff isn't just a local dispute. America's shadow looms large. The 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty binds the U.S. and the Philippines, and Washington has made clear an armed attack on Philippine forces in the South China Sea will trigger U.S. defense commitments. This warning means any assault on the Sierra Madre could draw in the world's most powerful navy. The stakes for China are enormous. A local skirmish could spiral into a U.S.-China conflict. The U.S. Navy's presence in the Indo-Pacific is a constant reminder. Backing down would damage U.S. credibility across Asia. China must weigh its ambitions against the risk of catastrophic war. The treaty, once a Cold War relic, is now the region's most critical deterrent. The American eagle's watching, and the dragon knows it. Removing the Sierra Madre would send shockwaves worldwide. It would shatter the rules-based order, signaling that might makes right and small nations are fair game. The South China Sea is a vital artery for global trade. Conflict here would disrupt supply chains and threaten the global economy. Regional alliances would fracture, and a new Cold War could emerge in Asia. ASEAN could be paralyzed, and an arms race would likely follow. The world would see China's willingness to use force for territorial gain. The fragile peace that fueled Asia's rise would be at risk. The fate of one rusty ship could tip the balance of global security. Even if China tried to tow the Sierra Madre, the operation would be a nightmare. The ship is fused to the reef, its hull rotted by decades of storms and salt. Any attempt to move it risks breaking it apart, causing an environmental disaster in the fragile Spratly ecosystem. The optics would be disastrous. A superpower wrecking a reef and fighting Marines on a derelict ship. Filipino Marines would resist, turning a towing into a firefight, and likely, a wider war. The technical, environmental, and military risks are immense. For Beijing, brute force could backfire spectacularly. The Sierra Madre's rusted hull is a fortress in more ways than one. With so much at stake, China is unlikely to launch a direct assault soon. The geopolitical implications of such an action would be immense, potentially drawing in international condemnation and escalating tensions in the region. China is aware that a direct confrontation could lead to a broader conflict, something it wishes to avoid at all costs. Beijing prefers a long game, gray zone harassment, blockades, and propaganda to wear down Philippine resolve. This strategy allows China to exert pressure without crossing the threshold into open conflict, maintaining a semblance of peace while slowly advancing its interests. The hope is that the Sierra Madre will eventually collapse from age or weather, letting China move in without firing a shot. This passive approach minimizes international backlash and allows China to claim the territory without direct military engagement. By tightening the blockade, China aims to starve the outpost of supplies and repairs. This slow strangulation tactic is designed to make the outpost unsustainable, forcing the Philippines to abandon it without a fight. If nature destroys the ship, Beijing can claim it's just removing a hazard. This narrative allows China to present itself as a responsible actor, merely cleaning up a dangerous wreck. A violent confrontation would unite the Philippines and its allies and push neutral neighbors toward the US. Such a scenario would be counterproductive for China, strengthening opposition against its claims. Instead, China continues its pressure campaign, testing for weakness and waiting for the right moment. This patient approach allows China to adapt its strategy based on the responses of the Philippines and its allies. More water cannons, more standoffs, always probing, never quite crossing the line. These actions are designed to intimidate and exhaust the opposition, keeping them on edge without triggering a full-scale conflict. The decisive move to tow the ship remains a threat, not a plan. This looming possibility serves as a constant reminder of China's capabilities and intentions, keeping the Philippines wary and cautious. For now, the dragon circles, waiting for its prey to weaken. This metaphorical circling is a strategic patience, a waiting game that China is willing to play for as long as it takes. The world watches, knowing the standoff could shift at any moment. Patience is China's weapon. The siege continues, with every day bringing new developments and potential shifts in the balance of power. The international community remains vigilant, aware that the situation is a delicate balance of power and diplomacy. The BRP Sierra Madre is more than a ship. It's a global symbol of resistance. Its lonely stand is a test of whether law or force will shape the future. If the Philippines holds, it sends a message. The world won't bow to expansionism. The outcome will shape the Indo-Pacific for decades. For Filipinos, the Sierra Madre is the heart of their struggle for sovereignty. The courage of its defenders inspires a nation and the world. As long as the flag flies, hope endures. The fight for a rules-based world is alive on a rusting hull in the South China Sea.